Hi, I hope you're having an awesome day so far. I'm Maddie. Today I'm going to be rebatching some soap that I made a couple months ago. I messed up on the soap challenge a couple months ago for the marble technique, so I'm going to be rebatching the soap that I messed up on, the first soap that I tried. So I'm going to show you how to rebatch soap. It's pretty easy, it's pretty simple, and I'm going to add a little bit more fragrance to it and some color to make it a really nice grapefruit pink is the color that I'm trying to go for. I hope you like it. This is the soap. I think it was from either August or the July soap challenge. I've been keeping it in this canister that I keep specifically for old soaps that I want to rebatch. And the marbling just wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, so I did it again, and it came out better the next time. But I still really like this fragrance, so I'm going to be rebatching it. I'm going to try to dye it pink, like a bright flamingo. The color is called flamingo pink. And I'll try and see how that goes. I'm not sure how all the mica lines in here are going to come out, if it's going to dye the soap or not, or how badly it's going to dye the soap. Since I've been keeping them in this container and I've kept it closed this whole time, they're still pretty moist, so it'll be really good when you rebatch soap. You definitely want to use it as soon as possible, but since I knew I wasn't going to get to it for a little while, I put it in this airtight container. I think it's airtight. And it's kind of kept it in a pretty new state, so I'm hoping that this will work. This is the first time that I've waited as long as I have to rebatch, so we're going to see how it goes. Soap, and it's all in here. It fills almost the whole thing, which I kind of forgot, but you're not supposed to fill it up super high. Whatever container you're using, you're only supposed to fill it like a half, maybe 3/4 full, and mine's a little bit more full than that. And rebatch is super easy and super basic to do. So I'm going to turn my crock pot on low heat. This is a really simple crock pot that I just got from Goodwill. And so the only settings it has is low and high. I think other crock pots or slow cookers or something have like temperature degrees or medium high, low high, instead of just normal low and high settings. I'm actually not sure if this is going to be big enough. So I'm going to add a little bit of water. I'm going to pour out. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to add a little bit of water to this to help it melt a little more easy. And then I'm going to cover it up so that it gets hot and keeps all its heat in. The amount of water, I don't really measure it out per se. I mean, I kind of do. I'll do like half a cup or so. I'll pour out half a cup and pour some in here of distilled water, not tap water. And if I need more, I probably won't. I'll add some more, but the water is just to kind of help it go a little more even, melt a little more evenly, because these thick things of soap aren't going to melt, aren't going to get hot the same way water will. Water gets hot at a very even temperature, and these might have hot spots and cold spots. On Soap Queen, she measures her water out by weight, instead of by volume. But she measures everything by weight. I don't think it's going to be a big deal if I do volume instead of weight for the water, because I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I've only done rebatch soap, I think, once. I've done actual rebatch, and then I've done hot process soap. which is very similar to Rebatch, and also really similar to cold process. I'll make a soap for that one day. Hot process soap. And it takes a couple hours. It's a little bit time consuming. Yeah. It takes a couple of hours for the soap to melt down the way I need it to. So I'm just going to do my dishes, watch a little TV. I'll come and check on this. It's already starting to get hot. I'll come and check on this every like 15 minutes or so, stir it up a little bit, and I'll bring y'all back when it's ready to do something with. So a little earlier I turned the temperature onto high instead of low, because I'm really impatient. But since it's not on a direct, the soap is not on a direct heat source, I don't think it's going to be a huge deal. It's still a little bit shredded. It's not really sticking together as much as it needs to. So I'll let it sit for a little while longer. It is starting to make my house smell like soap and hot grapefruits. But I've still got a little ways to go for this. Also, since this is Rebatch soap, I'm not working with any lye or anything dangerous, so I don't need to wear the same kind of... I'm in long sleeves because it's cold in my house. This is my robe. But I don't need to wear a mask or gloves or anything. I don't need to wear long sleeves to work with this because I'm just melting. The only dangerous thing I'm working with is the heat from this crock pot. Alright, so my soap is all melted. It's got this kind of a consistency kind of like mashed potatoes. It's not like melted liquid the way like my liquid oils are at the start of my cold process soap, but that's just hard soap that I just put in there. But this is about the consistency. This is as close to liquid consistency as Rebatch soap gets, since it's already a soap to begin with. You start with a soap, you don't start with a solid soap, you don't start with a liquid. So it's not going to be completely liquid. So I'm going to add just like a milliliter or two, this is 2 milliliters, so just 2 milliliters of grapefruit Bellini, which is the fragrance that I used on this soap the first time, and it's from Brambleberry. Alright. And I turned the heat onto low when I took the lid off just now. So I had it on high to get it melted down. And then while I'm working with it, it's going to be on low. And I added that little bit of fragrance oil just now, just to make up for any fragrance oil that might have dissipated with the heat and with the original cure and with it sitting by itself for a little while, just to make up for that. And I didn't obviously put a lot. Normally I put, for this size batch, like 1.3 ounces of fragrance, but so a couple of milliliters isn't a big deal. So this is Lab Color. I'm going to start with 2 milliliters because I do want it to be a nice bright pink. I got this Lab Color from Brambleberry several years ago, but I don't think they still sell this color. They still sell, as far as I know, other Lab Colors, but all 3 of the Lab Colors that I have are not sold anymore, so I can't refill them once they're empty. So for Rebatch soap, it is a little bit difficult to add colorant into the soap because it's not completely liquid. It's not as easy to mix in. There's going to be some parts that are white or off-white colored just because of the consistency of this soap compared to cold processed soap that is a little more liquidy. It's a little easier to mix all together. Alright, so I'm going to add another couple milliliters. This is 2 more milliliters. And this will probably be enough. I wanted, probably won't be, a really bright pink grapefruit, like the inside of a grapefruit. This one's probably going to be a little bit off purple, purpley pinky color. And it's not going to be as neon as I was hoping in my head. I think it'll still be pretty close though. Close enough. And it's probably, this color probably goes a little bit better in different types of soaps. Because this does look a little bit purple. Since Brambleberry discontinued this color, I can't go and check what color it was. I have the bottle labeled, but if I mislabeled it or it's a slightly different shade than I think it is, there's kind of not a lot that I can do. So this is the color that it is, and it's kind of thin, but that's probably about, man, I don't know if I should add any more or not, because it's kind of not terrible. You can see little bits of the mica that I had in there from the original batch that didn't process all the way down. I'm going to do 1 more milliliter. Man, I can't tell. I can't decide. Yeah, I'm going to do 1 more milliliter to see what happens. And that's it. Alright. Not a terrible color. Actually pretty good grapefruit pink. Grapefruit, like a darker than grapefruit pink. Alright. I'm gonna add a little bit more fragrance too. Alright, so that puts my total fragrance that I just added for the Rebatch section to 3 milliliters. Let's turn this off now. Right, and the only thing left to do is put it in the mold, and as soon as this glass is dry, cooled off, I can just wash it all off with the extra soap batter that's going to be left in here. Because it's fully formed soap, not only did I leave it sitting in that jar long enough for it to cure, well, since it was in that jar, maybe not completely, but the other batch that I did for that challenge, that soap challenge, has completely cured, and I've got it I'm selling it right now. So not only did it cure completely, but hot process and Rebatch soap makes it easy to, since it's so hot and evaporates a lot of the water, the lye evaporates, so it basically speeds up your cure time from 6 or 7 weeks to like 2 hours, which is a really big difference. So I'm just going to put this in the mold, and it'll be ready to unmold in a day or two and be ready to sell by the end of the week. So it's pretty easy stuff. This is the final cut, so it's a pretty nice, pretty nice pink. I think it's a pretty good, accurate grapefruit color, but some of the color didn't get quite into all of the spaces. You can see there's still some chunks that are white that weren't colored, which is pretty normal for Rebatch soap. It won't do anything, it's just a little white. It still smells really good. I put a little bit more fragrance in to accommodate for any that might have evaporated in the heat, because heat can affect how strong a fragrance is, but these smell really good. It's a little bit time consuming. If I don't have like 2 hours or so, minimum 2 hours, I won't do Rebatch that day. I'll wait a little while, because it really is, it's super simple, but it really is time consuming. You have to grate up the soap, is probably the worst part. That takes a long time to just grate up every single piece of soap and then actually melting it. I did end up putting a little bit too much water. I think I ended up putting like 1/4 of a cup total, and it was way too much. When I unmolded the soap, it came out of the silicone mold and it was sticky on the bottom and the sides. And when I was cutting through it, it was really sticky and really tacky and wet, which is because I added too much water to it. So if you rebatch soap, just be a little bit easy on the water. A little bit goes a long way. Probably next time I'll only use like a tablespoon or so. And I can always add more if I need to later on. So I hope you have an awesome rest of your day. I'm glad you made it this far through my video, that I was that entertaining for you. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Bye!